Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Dylan.
Yo-ho.
Oh, man. What a snoozy day it is
You'll
for
never
me.
guess what day it is.
Bruh, it is a night, and look at that. And then here comes Dylan opening the bottle. Here we go.
What's my favorite, Ian?
What's your favorite what?
Beverage.
Beverage?
Mm-hmm.
Whiskey? Hard?
Which one?
Johnny Walker?
Of course.
Of
Which
course.
Johnny Walker?
Black Label.
Damn fucking straight.
Right. Speaking of, we had that ranking with Ethan on his show, and
Yep.
we ended up liking Four Roses a lot. I don't think I actually got any of it still,
Oh,
but I mean
criminal.
for the price that it was, I think that Four Roses was a great bourbon. But that's not what today's episode is about.
right.
Even though,
It's
yes,
just a side note.
it has been a
that
long.
may develop into the main topic if we're not careful.
Yep. As we do with these episodes, sometimes we talk about our days, our weeks, or whatever's going on.
Right.
And I had a lot of very important things happening at work, a lot of changes happening, a lot of things that are shifting around.
Poor
And
bastard.
today was the big day.
Mm-hmm.
Got a bunch of new toys,
Right.
got a bunch of new equipment, got it all set in place by the professionals.
Mm-hmm.
I got to oversee it all, got to do all that fun stuff, and I got
Right.
to play with it, and that was fun, and I enjoyed it because it is nice. It's good, positive change, and it's going to be easier in the long run for my job. So, I had to be up early to get all that stuff ready. And then, of course, as the day progressed, I stayed with them the whole time. And now, I after everyone left and the dust settled, I was like, okay, now it's time for me to kind of like, play with it myself.
Right.
Now that I'm not, having everyone else looking over me and oohing and ahhing and gawking
Now I can
over
do what I
all
really
my new
want.
toys. So I did that for a while. And even though it was a good day, it was a long time in the making. It was very stressful. There's still a lot of things that need to get done, and I'm excited about it. But as I called you on the phone coming home, I was definitely like, I'm trying to be optimistic, trying to keep my spirits high, even though I'm tired and I want to take a nap.
I should note that he worded that completely differently whenever he was on the phone with me.
Well, okay, I will say you answered the phone like you normally do, going, "Hey, how's it going?" And I said, "Tired." And then
Fed up.
Yeah, and then I did because of other things, not the happy positive things I just mentioned. There's other things that are happening that have caused me to be fed up, but that's just it's just
Par for the course.
It's just one of those days where I'm just like, there's so many great things, and at the same time, there's always that one little thing that you're just like, oh, you son of a bitch. Way to ruin a good time, huh?
Right.
So anyways, that's what I was talking about. But I did tell him that I was like, I'm excited. I got some new boots, got myself some new shoes that I was excited about. I was in the process of again, it was a good day, a hard day's worth of work. So you know what I did? I bought myself a pizza.
Yep.
Because you know what? Sometimes
It's a nice comfort food.
Sometimes that's all I need.
All reliable.
It's not sponsored. A Domino's pizza
Right.
makes me feel a little better sometimes.
The new
and,
Parmesan crusted
yeah.
stuffed crust.
Hell yeah. So anyways, I had some of that. And I was like, and then of course on the drive home, I was like, shit, I forgot it's Thursday.
Right.
So I was like, you know what?
Stop us if you've heard that one before.
But I was like, but you know what? But I looked at it as it's so many more good things to add to today. There's a lot of
pleasant
great stuff.
surprise.
Pleasant surprise.
I've said it 1,000 times.
Yes.
It's my favorite part of the week.
I get to come here and hang out and talk about something that we're going to talk about in a second, which we'll get to, which I'm very excited about. But at the same time, I was also like, I got so many great things happen today. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay optimistic, stay positive, have a little fun, and yeah. And then Dylan came up in here because we were joking around about how did we get started on talking about whiskey? It was after the episode, I think, wasn't it?
Right.
I made an offhanded comment about my new shoes smells like fresh leather.
Oh yeah.
It is authentic leather boots and a matching belt that I like a lot. And I was like, you know what? This is not a smell for everybody,
Right.
but I do indeed like fresh leather, like some good. I don't know what it is.
Yep.
I mean, maybe I'm just a guy's guy. Who knows? But so I took my brand new shoes out the package, and it was like, oh,
that new leather smell,
fresh rubber, new leather, and just
uncannily similar.
Yeah.
To Ardbeg 10, a whiskey that we've tried many a time.
Friend of the podcast, Ardbeg 10, which smells of tarry rope,
right? Burnt tire,
a fresh leather chair,
campfire.
Yeah. A nice cedar log. No, I'm not playing anyways.
Right.
So anyways, so we talked about that, and of course I was like,
if only you want some fucking whiskey.
If only we had Ardbeg 10. You're like, well, I got Black Label, and I was like, don't threaten me with a good time.
I was like, that ain't a threat, it's a promise.
And here we are today with a little bit of Johnny Walker
pulling up on a Thursday.
On a Thursday, and hey, here's to it. But
man, that's good.
Oh, it's real nice. We have been. I think didn't we mention this in the previous episode, kind of towards the end?
Honestly, not sure. I don't remember talking about it like during an episode.
Probably not. Because we can't watch G Gundam because of reasons that are totally legal.
We had to shift. Something else.
And so we were watching
The Irresponsible Captain Tyler.
Right. Beloved, and many of the listeners will know.
Finished the TV series.
Yes.
Moved on to the OVAs.
Right.
Still in the process getting through those.
But then Dylan throws this little curveball at me.
Dude.
You
you can blame Dakota for this.
Okay.
All right. He's the motherfucker that started this resurgence for me. And I went ahead and ordered both Blu-ray collections of Bleach, The 1,000-Year Blood War.
Okay.
Now, I've had tertiary knowledge of Bleach growing up because of my sister, my youngest sister.
Right.
She watched the shit and then subsequently read the shit out of the entirety of Bleach.
I watched the shit. I read the shit.
I breathed the shit.
I am the shit.
Yeah. So, I've had my bits and bobs about the series. Never really, super got into it until relatively recently, whenever Dakota just convinced me to watch it.
Right.
And man, this new shit they're putting out is...
good stuff.
It's so good.
It's good stuff.
I'm not one for a lot of the...
Shonen Jump type stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a special place for me because it's what was on TV growing up. Of course. It's all the stuff that was on Toonami and shit like that.
Right.
So it's there. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily my absolute favorite type of stuff, but I mean, I get the appeal. But man, this this has been a nice almost a. It makes me nostalgic in a sense because I remember staying up late.
Oh yeah,
just watching episodes with my sister.
I remember. I think I feel like I may have said this on the show, and if I have, I apologize. I'm going to repeat myself. So for those of you who don't know, stay tuned.
Right.
My middle brother, as the podcast listeners know, the elusive second son, Eric. He was a pretty big fan of Bleach growing up. Or at least from what I remember.
He was the one. The poster.
Yeah, he had a poster on it. He watched the first few seasons of it, I believe, or as they were releasing on Cartoon Network / Adult Swim, Toonami, I think, because that's what that was. It was a little more adult, I think,
right?
Because they cursed a little more. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, they said the damn word, and so it was on Toonami.
A couple of shits,
a couple of shits here and there, and it was like, ooh, it's bad.
That was the best fucking part of Toonami.
I know.
Staying up late already, past your bedtime, was already ooh, I'm doing something I'm not supposed to do. And then this crazy shit that's coming on TV. It's like, what the.
I'm watching samurai slice each other up and say
damn.
Crazy
shit with swords.
Saying damn shit. Oh, no. But yeah, so I remember growing up and I watched the hell out of Naruto. That was the first anime I ever watched.
Right.
Again, I have not watched any of the recent stuff, but the first few seasons, or if nothing else, the first 100 episodes or whatever it was of Naruto, I watched because it was on Cartoon Network. It was like a big deal in, gosh, what was that? 2005, 2008, something like that, like in between that time period or whatever. It was a big deal. And so I fell in love with it. And I had my favorite characters and all the theme songs and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But then as the show progressed, like I never really got super into it anymore. Right. And I kind of, stepped away from some of the anime stuff.
Because, back then it wasn't easy to just watch the rest of it after it stopped airing.
There was, I remember a weekend, and it was called the Naruto Hundo, and it was all like the first 100 episodes of Naruto that they just like
marathon
plowed through it. And I 100%, I vividly remember my mom coming back from like Costco or something, or the grocery store with like snacks and things, and for the week or whatever. But I was like, so I helped her unload groceries like in between, like it was like a commercial break, and I ran out there and was like, because Mama ain't raised no 2-trip bitch. I grabbed all the bags with in one go.
It's
and,
like just to me, Mama.
Don't worry.
I gotta get back to my show.
Right. But I remember that, and I remember watching that, and then of course Shonen Jump having is One Piece Shonen Jump or no, or is it separate? I know there was a point in time where like it felt like every anime on the television was a Shonen Jump anime.
Right.
I know Bleach, I know Naruto. I remember there was a couple other ones, but I could have swore that One Piece was in that bracket as well. No one in my family watched One Piece, but Eric specifically loved Bleach, and so I remember again, same thing with you. I know like secondhand knowledge from what I would walk in as he was watching episodes, like, what's going on? And he's like,
I can't explain. I can't explain. You just had to watch.
And I'm just like, you got it, bro. Yep. You locked in. I'm here for it, dude. It looks badass. And that was about it for me. Yeah. And then so I know, and this is where people are gonna, I think, crucify me in the comments potentially. I haven't watched any of it really, besides probably the first few episodes of it. I know nothing but the series in its entirety. And Dylan likes to do this to me, where he throws me in at the good part a lot of times. But the good part is, after 20 years of development,
50,000 arcs worth of filler.
Yeah. The first Gundam series I ever watched was Unicorn, and we're talking like it was some good shit. But I was like, bro, I have no idea what's going on in the grand scheme of things.
Don't remind me, man. I already feel guilty enough. Fucking hell.
It's fine. So
okay, I got you there.
So you got it. I got it. And again, I think in the grand scheme of things, I think it has helped me like some shows better because I got to see what like the good bits of it are, and then I get to see some of like the beginnings, which I think is nice, at least for me. I'm also not super critical about that kind of stuff, so I think,
thank God,
I'm not.
Most people would not be receptive at all to this backwards ass way I'm showing you these series.
It's all good. It's all good. I've had far worse done to me. So when it comes to like movies and television, like people trying to like spoil it by telling it to me and just let me watch it. If you're gonna describe it to me in detail, just
I don't need a fucking synopsis.
Right. Especially when
give it to me straight.
Especially when like there's those people that just can't help but talk to you about it. And I'm just like, I don't want to hear about it.
Dakota is one of those people.
Oh, stop. I'm just like, I don't want to hear about it. He's like, okay. But then
what if?
And I'm like, no, stop.
Dakota, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry, but that's the fucking truth. He's probably agreeing with me right now.
He's like, yep, that's me.
Yeah. He would not disagree at all.
That's funny.
He knows.
So anyways, we've watched. So as you've told me, there are 2 Blu-ray sets right now.
Right. Currently out right now, there are only 2 Blu-ray sets for this arc.
Right. And you said they're potentially going to make some more. Right. Or they're finishing up some more.
Right. Whenever the reason this started was because Dakota invited me over to his house to just binge this shit.
Got it.
out of the blue, and I was like, I mean, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I've got like surface level knowledge of Bleach. I could,
Right,
yeah.
right. It'd be fine.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I mean, are you sure? I could like recommend like a stretch of episodes to get you caught up so you're not like fucking floundering and be like,
Yeah, let me flounder.
right. And then he just fucking explains like everything to me,
Of course.
like in a phone call. I was like,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
yo,
Yeah. Whoa.
damn,
Holy shit.
yeah. And I was like, yeah, man, that sounds cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And I went over there like for a stretch of like Friday through Sunday. Best
Yeah.
fucking weekend of my life.
Yeah.
It feels like I want to do it again. But he keeps talking to me about fucking Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw
no.
Man, and I'm like, I've heard plenty of good things. I don't know if it's particularly my cup of tea, but I'll give it a shot.
Right.
Hey, whatever. You got me back into Bleach. All right,
Yeah,
that's
that's
as much
something.
of a testament as I can imagine
Right.
to anything. The only thing that could have been worse that I might have actually said no to is like, come watch Gundam Seed with me.
Oh, yeah.
Because, buddy,
Mm-mm.
for one weekend, I can't.
I feel like I would.
Because that includes Destiny. I'm not willing to sit through that shit
Oh,
in one
no.
sitting.
I feel like I would have a better time convincing you to watch Naruto with me than.
Maybe.
He did. I was gonna say.
Maybe.
I was gonna say Dylan didn't have to say any words at all. He just nodded. He nodded his head yes and went maybe, and I was like, that's all I need.
Because, man, Naruto
Yeah.
has some good shit.
Sometimes
There's some characters I like.
yeah,
It's more or less the same situation with Bleach.
wacky shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and some of it's fun.
Yeah.
But some of it also is very. I
Rock
think-
Lee,
Oh yeah,
Might Guy, those are my favorite fucking characters.
yeah, some good shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
Fuck them powers.
Yeah,
I don't need no fucking
Yeah,
magic.
yeah,
Square
yeah.
the fuck up.
That's so funny.
Do them dirty in front
Yeah,
they squad. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
That's one of my that's my favorite fucking like subversion of that entire magic system is just
Oh, of course.
having a character that isn't able to utilize and or is not good at utilizing that skill
Right.
and just hard focusing into just
Yeah.
straight hands.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, you can't.
if I'm fast enough and I can hit you hard enough, I don't even need to worry about your magic bullshit.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
so fucking
I
cool.
love it. It's
Mhm.
great. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great to have a little bit of a grounding in what could otherwise be
Right.
a bit wacky, supernatural stuff.
Mhm. Just a guy who hits really hard.
Yeah. A real fast guy
Yeah.
who can punch good.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, you showed me, I think, 1 or 2 episodes of One Punch Man. and,
Yeah.
and that's another show that I was like, I forgot about, but like I've also heard it's like a pretty good show as well.
Dude,
And so like I kind of want to watch that as well.
the first season is peak.
Really?
The second season, I don't know. I haven't watched the full thing, so
Mhm.
I don't know if it stays this way, but the animation apparently took a hit and
Okay.
isn't quite as good as the first season was. But then I started reading it and thought it,
Picked up.
it was still pretty neat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are the seasons long for that show? Or are they just kind of
I want to
average?
say it's about the average, like 20-something episodes.
Nice.
Same with
Right.
I mean, most other like newer series aside
Yeah,
from
yeah.
like I was surprised because I had it in my head like way back when that every anime would be like hundreds of episodes.
Oh, of course.
After my sister ordered these big ass like custom made DVD collections for Naruto, I was like,
Whoa, really?
how many fucking episodes are there?
Oh, she's like 400.
Like,
Yeah.
in this box there are 500 episodes.
yeah.
I'm like, fuck off.
Excuse me?
Right. Ain't no way.
Yeah.
And Bleach,
Is in the same.
God save it,
Yep.
has been notorious. The animation specifically has been lambasted for countless and innumerable filler arcs.
Really?
Yes, that was the main thing keeping me from watching it, because this was, again, before I knew there were websites, or before websites even existed that cut out the filler or gave you a guide to skip that shit, because
Yeah.
now there are.
Mhm.
And it's so much nicer to watch it because you get nothing but the important shit.
That's good.
Just cuts that.
The same thing could be said about Naruto.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it goes on for as long, but I remember
Mhm.
I remember stumbling across like some sort of page once upon a time, like whenever Shippuden was coming out or whatever else was coming out for it, that They did the same thing. They numbered the episodes in their importance, and of course, like cut out the filler episodes.
Right. The completely legal website that I use now has highlighted and like highlighted episodes, letting you know hey, you're not gonna miss anything if you skip this. It's
interesting.
So nice. It's a level of convenience I
wish you would have had.
greatly appreciate compared to what I used to have to deal with.
Right.
Because back, I remember this, one of my core memories is going to the old mall whenever that place was the place to be.
Yeah.
And they had these specific shops that had a bunch of manga, like DVDs. That's where my sister got the Cowboy Bebop movie.
Oh, yeah.
The Tenchi Muyo movie, her Japanese copy of Wario Land 4.
Oh, wow.
That I played the shit out of on the Game Boy Advance she had. That place has been stuck in my head for the past few decades now. And I wish it was still around.
Yeah.
Because they had so much cool shit.
They had a couple of stores like that are hyper specific, kind of collectible shops.
Right.
That happen in some
that
of the
just
malls.
Had straight imports.
Oh, yeah. And then they, for whatever reason, don't stick around for very long, probably because of
shameful
demand of other
things.
things.
The GameWare in the mall closed.
Yeah.
It's not there anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I even checked the map to see if they just moved it somewhere, but it's just not fucking there.
There's a lot of changes happening to that mall. It's just, I think it's a lot because of just, again, demand of other things. And I think also people don't go to physical malls a whole lot anymore. And so I think the cost to rent out a spot in a mall can't be cheap. And then
at this point, it doesn't seem worth it anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So there could be a number of reasons why that's going on. So, and it doesn't help that you got, freaking huge clothing brands that have indispensable money, indisposable money, whatever the word is. They have infinite money. They can just no, we're gonna go ahead and take that because you can't afford it. But we can just, it's a drop in our bucket for us.
Big fucking whoop.
Yeah. Big thread out here to take all my business.
Stealing my cloth.
Stealing my cloth. Yanking my chain.
Dude, yoinking my oink.
Damn, that's funny.
Yeah. So,
yes,
we have watched in total 9 episodes so far.
Right.
Impressions?
Sad.
Yeah.
It's
pretty
dire. Dire straits. Again,
is the Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, right.
It's got about the equivalent of that.
Yeah, we're definitely up against an enemy that is
nigh unstoppable.
Seems like the way they're unkillable in a lot of ways, which is interesting and scary.
Unless you get Kenpachi in there.
Well, yeah. He feels like the exception in a lot of ways.
He really is.
Yeah.
Even in the regular show, Kenpachi being one of the captains of the Soul Society.
Yeah.
11th Squad specifically. My favorite character.
Right. If you can't tell.
This motherfucker, from the beginning, he is built up as this unstoppable beast that can only barely be defeated if he's not bringing his A game.
Right.
Which is one of my favorite aspects of his character, which will be expounded upon in the next episode, so I'm not going to say anything. But that's what makes his fights so interesting to me. But yeah, it also doesn't help that he's voiced by Fumihiko Tatsuki.
Yeah. Which is Vasaraga, right? Yeah.
Gendo Ikari.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Vasaraga.
Gendo Ikari. I forgot about that. Yeah. Shinji's dad out here.
God.
Kicking ass.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, A-list voice actor for me.
He's a very unique voice, and it's very nice.
Oh yeah, gruff smoker. I would almost compare it to
real man's man.
Right, but
he plays big characters well.
Yeah. He plays fucking madman. Insanely well.
Oh yeah, I'm a bad man.
Right, calm and composed, neglectful father.
Yeah,
or straight up fucking demon.
Right. Which, I mean, arguably same.
Oh, yeah. Right. What's the difference?
Yeah, what's the difference? Am I right? Yeah, so this show starts off really interesting so far with again, me knowing nothing about what's happening just before this, Ichigo, our main character, he's like the only character I know by name. I know all the other characters by face or by like their like calling card.
Right.
Like I don't know the guy with the green striped hat.
Oh,
I know I know he's like a mainstay character, but
right.
all I know is that he's the guy with the green striped hat.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I know all the characters by their visual distinctions.
Right.
But it seems like our little team that we got here is not working with the Soul Society anymore. Or at least not for right now.
Freelancers for all intents and purposes.
Right. And through some crazy turns of events, what are they called again?
Quincy's.
Quincy's. Which again, I know nothing about these like subgroups of people.
One of the main cast, Uryu,
yeah,
is one of these Quincy's who have been described up to this point as just long dead people that have had ties against the Soul Society for one reason or another. Their whole shtick is that whenever they fight hollows, these corrupted souls of people long dead or newly dead, whenever they fight and kill them, they're just fucking gone. Whenever a Soul Reaper kills a hollow, their soul is transported to heaven or hell, whatever whatever the karmic balance dictates.
Right.
And at one point or another, it's expounded in the 1,000-Year Blood War that a long fucking time ago there was a war between the Soul Society and the Quincy's. After the Soul Society was like, there's no fucking way we can find common ground with these people. They have to be stopped.
Right.
In this case, stopped being genocided.
Well,
they straight up just murdered.
If you're not with me, you're against me.
Right. If you can't if you can't toe the line, bro, don't even fucking toe at all. They straight up
toes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they kill everyone.
Right.
Or so we thought.
Well,
yeah.
Isn't that the tension in every show?
Exactly, yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Or was it?
Yeah. We killed them all. Or did we?
Mm-hmm. There's this old Quincy King prophecy that's been floating around in one dusty book or another that describes his return. And that dude comes back with a vengeance.
Oh, the biggest chip on his shoulder.
Yuhabaha, which is the dumbest fucking name.
What an interesting name.
It's not so much the pronunciation as the spelling.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, okay, that's like, I mean, that's a weird fucking name. Not something I'm willing to dismiss entirely. But as soon as I see how it's spelled, I'm like, what the fuck is that?
It's a different culture. It's a different language.
Like,
let them.
It's like fucking. I don't know that I could recount it by memory.
I don't remember how it's spelled either, but you're right though. Whenever I hear
it's weird.
When I hear people, I think it's one of those things where if I'm not mistaken, there are a few words in Japanese that are like there's characters in Grand Blue that have
different pronunciations depending on the language. Like Ladiva is pronounced Vastiva.
Yes.
Or Vasaraga would be more like Bazaraga in Japanese. It's I think sure that's just the inflection of the accent.
I think
coming through.
Some of it has to do, I think, with also the LR thing.
Right.
Where like there's no L sound in the Japanese language and they confuse it with R. And that's a big thing. So then maybe that's it. But even Seox. Seosh or whatever they whole
say like shees.
Yeah, right. And it's like that kind of stuff where it's like I think that there's a miscommunication of things because I think even if you put the game over into English, they say his name like it would be phonetically said for us. So I'm just like maybe there's just like so what I'm saying is like his name may be spelled one way, but it's actually just like a weird phonetic thing that's not a mistranslation in it, but
or they could just be given a different name entirely.
Oh,
like
right,
a localized name.
Yeah,
For instance, a lot of the Eternals have that same type of issue where Anre is uno.
Oh yeah.
Seofan is siete. Twain is song.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, the other two, those are actually Spanish numbers,
right?
Which is crazy.
Yeah, I want to say they may keep, I'm pretty sure they either keep that motif or do something similar because there's one that's just named Fief, which was one of my favorites.
Yeah,
but yeah. Other than that, I mean, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and again, there's all kinds of reasons why they change up certain names because I think sometimes they translate into weird words or different things.
Or there is no translation.
Yeah.
It just doesn't carry over.
That's thus the perks of language and all that kind of stuff.
Ain't that fucking cool?
Yeah.
It's so cool.
There's a couple of guys on Instagram that do some really weird things where they break down Japanese in a weird way. Mm-hmm. Where one of the guys is like the straight man and the other guy's like the goofy guy.
Yeah.
And the straight man's always like, so what is this?
I think I know what you're talking
what is
about.
This word in Japanese? And he's always like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
He has a shit-eating grin, and then he writes it out, and he's like, well, it also means this. And he's like, could you write that out for me too? Right. Anyways, yeah, it's always goofy.
It's cool.
So they're both the same thing. Yeah. Or whatever. It's that kind of stuff.
Whatever you say, bro.
You're right. So anyways, I think it's fun. But you're right. What I'm saying is Yuhabaha. Which I think
it sounds cool.
It sounds cool. Now, if it was spelled like you think it is,
right.
then that's,
as soon as I see it, I'm like, that's not how you stop that.
stop that.
Right. But man, I got a feeling I know what your favorite part of this was so far.
Oh, 100%.
It's a fairly easy guess, and it happens relatively early on.
Okay.
This show starts with a fucking bang. Like they get right into it.
Yeah.
They don't do any kind of establishment because they're assuming you've watched.
Oh, you're right.
At least a bit.
You at least know the main crew guys.
Right. You know the main cast. You know what they've done, what they've been through, shit like that. But man, the Quincy's just show up like right out the gate.
Yep.
We get a nice a few establishing shots of the main cast like doing their thing.
Right.
The shit they've just been doing.
Yeah.
Which is acting as like substitute soul reapers taking out hollows whenever they start causing trouble.
Right.
But these fucking Quincy's just start showing up and wreaking havoc.
Right. So the first kind of attention point is, and this is the part of the show that I kind of knew but didn't know fully about. I was like, so whenever Dylan was like, so what do you know about Bleach? Like in a rough idea, I was like, I know that they have a group of guys. I was referring to the Soul Society. It's like they got a group of guys and girls that all have special abilities that I believe
has something to do with their swords.
It has something to do with their weapons, and all their weapons are unique to them. And I think they're called Zanpakutos. I think. And I was like, at that point, I was like, and I think that's all I know. And I think I was like, at some point, I think that
so sorry.
No, it's okay. I think I was like, and I know at certain points in time, I think some people get special bone masks or something like that or whatever. And Dylan was like, yes.
Everything you've said is correct.
Yeah, is in
it does in fact happen.
Yeah, you're right. What you said is not inaccurate. Yeah. So I was saying all that to like, again, obviously, assuming you know what's going on so far, we get right into it that like the drama, the like holy shit moment that happens in like the first couple episodes to kind of get you hooked in is we got our Quincy guys are starting to like
make little appearances here and there.
Right.
And they just start wrecking house.
Right. But they also start to like what the society is imagining, and I think what is kind of assumed right off the bat is that they are somehow inhibiting their, what is it called? Their Bankai. They're like inhibiting their special move. Right. So their weapon has like a special ability that's like tied to it or something kind of like that. And
unique
it's like
to each individual.
Right. And it's like locking it away or whatever. And it's like, holy shit, that's kind of like my whole, that's my whole deal.
Right. One of the only methods I can use to beat these people.
Right. And they're like locking it away or doing something special with it or whatever. But spoiler alert, it's actually not inhibiting it. They're just straight up sucking it out of you.
Taking that shit.
It's
and mine now.
And they're putting it in like a little pocket watch type deal.
Mm-hmm. They can just bust that shit out whenever.
Yeah. I hold up my little compass and it just sucks out your powers.
Yeah.
And I was like, first of all, anime is shit.
Right.
I love
also,
it.
fuck you.
Also,
give me back my shit.
Give me back my shit. I worked hard for that. So that's the establishing tensions.
Right.
You got this
big bads.
Yeah.
With big bad abilities.
Right. And because again, as previously mentioned, the Quincy's are all supposed to be long gone. So now all of a sudden, whenever we start getting like little twinklings of like, hey, yo, is that a Quincy I'm smelling?
Yeah.
They're like, hey,
I only
no
know
way.
Like one of those
them.
guys.
Yeah. And he's kind of chill.
He's supposed to be the last one.
Yeah, right. So what gives?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Where you been?
Why you sharing your juice?
You're supposed to be dead.
So that's kind of that's the foundation of what happens. And then of course, as you can imagine, more start popping up. Right. We get little glimpses.
They got a whole fucking army.
Yeah,
they've already all but destroyed and or taken over an entire realm.
Oh yeah,
Hueco Mundo.
Yeah, which is an interesting name too.
Yeah, a lot of Spanish.
Yeah,
a lot of Spain.
Maybe it's a vibe.
Yeah.
We also get a good shot at this supposed king of the Quincy's for a brief moment. And then I love a good establishing shot of a villain. I feel like you have first impressions are everything, I think. Doesn't always have to be that way, and I think that a lot of times, some people make it more important than others. But I think in a TV or film, go ahead and hit me up too.
Oh yeah.
In TV and film as well, you want to be able to kind of nail down a few things about a character, in the simplest way possible.
Why should I believe that this guy is any kind of hot shit?
Right. And you can do that. And again, sometimes you can subvert that. Sometimes
it takes a little bit of the nub.
Yeah. Again, I think a perfect example of that is in The Dark Knight. Whenever you were establishing the Joker.
Oh yeah.
That whole sequence of the bank and him killing his own dudes and the whole thing like establishes the Joker well. I think for like, all right, okay, like
he's not your run of the mill dude.
Yeah. Not only is he crazy, but there's also a lot of other stuff going on. Anyways, it's that kind of stuff. First few times you see Darth Vader sort of thing, imposing, intimidating. I love a good establishment of a villain, even if some of them are unconventional. I also do love a troubled villain that has a sad backstory and then, of course, is understandable. But this, I think, is a great establishment for a big bad character, which I'm hyping all this up now because it all plays into a very important thing that I like a lot later. That I think we're in the same we're in the same headspace for. Yeah. We have our king of the Quincy's on this throne, and we have 5 or 6 of his like compatriots, his little guys,
right? The
henchmen, what do you want to call it?
Doing goons.
The goon squad. Goon squad rolls up, and of course he's like, status report, what's happening? And so each one of his people that have like gone out to these different areas, are all
the leader of the squad he sent to the Cerete, which is like the headquarters of the Soul Society. Like gives him the sit rep, and is like, I told them that the Cerete would be invaded in 5 days because I figured that would be enough time to prepare our forces. And it was like, so you can see the future. And he's like, what? Like, no. You're saying in 5 days.
Yeah, are you a prophet?
Is when the invasion will happen.
He said, are you a prophet?
Right.
He's like, no.
Can you see the future?
Yeah.
I asked you what was happening now.
Yeah.
Not what's happening 5 days from now.
Right.
And he then fucking obliterates him.
Yep.
Takes his head clean off with the point of his finger.
Yep. But we don't even see him move. I don't think we saw. I didn't see him move. I didn't see him move his hand or nothing. Maybe I could be wrong. God. But like the first time he starts to say that, I think he chops his arm off.
Oh shit!
So he
starts arguing with another subordinate, and he's like,
"Stop!
How many times do I have to tell you not to argue in front of me?"
Right. That's what I'm saying. But he doesn't say it in like an angsty way or like a frustrated way.
Right. Just he's completely like
calm, collected, and it's like, "What have I told you about arguing in front of me?" And of course, one of them starts to apologize, and of course, I think they both start to say something. Mm-hmm. But within a flash, our guy starts like bleeding profusely from his side, and he's like,
"My fucking arm's off!"
And of course, his arm's on the ground, and he's panicking and obviously losing blood, so he's like on his knees, and this is where like the whole back and forth starts to happen about like, are you
a prophet?
Yeah, right, all that kind of bullshit. Right. And so eventually, and this is what I'm talking about, by a good establishment of a villain, because I know what's going to happen. This little plebeian ain't nobody to this big guy.
Right.
Big guy. So
you a big guy.
Yeah, you a big guy. So again, there's some more back and forth, and then right whenever you think that things are going to be like kind of whatever, he pops his head. Again,
it was nothing.
The king guy may have moved his hand, but he may as well have not done anything. So right now, I'm like,
a sideways glance would have done the trick.
That's what I'm saying. We are in his throne room. It feels sterile, a bit like crystalline dimension kind of vibe.
A blue walkway followed by a throne in a pitch black void.
Right. And so it's like, so the fact that like, I know we're probably in like his inner sanctum of power or something, but just the fact that like, even if he does move, it is so minimal, but the damage is catastrophic.
Oh yeah.
So you're like, okay, we already are establishing, especially in like an anime, we're like, okay, we got a guy over here who can blink his eyes and make a guy's head explode.
Power creep.
Yeah, right. Right. We're dealing with an OP villain here is what I'm seeing. And then of course,
Frieza type beat.
Who's the other guy? The other guy who like, in a very similar way, I don't think he says anything wrong, but I think it was the guy, he wasn't able to capture or steal.
He had a tussle with Ichigo.
Right. It was Ichigo's guy, and he wasn't able to take his Bankai.
Right.
And so he was able to flee in some way and come back to this little meeting they were having.
Yeah. And he was like, you've served your purpose well enough in one way, but not enough to warrant your continued survival.
Right.
And he's like, your purpose has been served.
Yeah.
And then he lifts his finger.
Yep, and kills him.
Right.
Same thing. Head gone.
Does not care much for his subordinates.
No. And so at this point, you're like, okay, first of all, for a group of people that you think are small in numbers, he's hacking these bitches off left and right.
There's evidently enough of them to warrant just the wanton waste of their lives.
Right. Or at the very least, he's not willing to deal with lackluster performance. So he's gonna scare into him.
Right.
Or at least what it feels. Anyways, so but the point that I was making is we get, for me, this establishing shot of overpowered, cold,
right?
Probably a bit, like you said, wanton, of just like meh,
unfeeling,
right?
One track mind,
and it's to kill,
revenge, yeah.
So yeah, I love that because I like I said, I think especially for a show that has a large cast of characters that are probably overpowered in their own way. I can see how it could be hard if you have a main character or a cast of characters that are slaughtering these massive monsters or bad enemies like they're nothing, because they're just like, I'm just that powerful, I can do whatever. You really got, like you said, power creep is a great word for it in the game industry.
How much more powerful does the big bad need to be to even pose a challenge to the gods that we've built up throughout this entire series?
Exactly. And the fact that like they have this like little like magic shield around them that they can protect themselves from is one thing that adds to their credibility.
Right. They got a cornucopia of different abilities that they can just bust out.
Which are like specifically, it feels like specifically designed to really counter what the Soul Society is doing. So again, there's these little tricklings of like, okay, I can see how we're getting, they're a tough enemy. They can hold their own. And then you get this guy in the sequence, this king character who's able to just like, who has a seemingly limitless amount of power, and it's like, okay,
enough to do away with another being entirely.
Right, just because he feels like it. It's like, okay, so I think now we are like, for me at least, I'm like, okay, even though I don't know all the backstory of all these characters, I know that obviously from a show that's been going on for this long and beloved characters, like they got to at least be some kind of crazy amount of powerful. They have to have overcome their own Friezas and Vegetas in their own day and whatever it may be.
And bro, they did.
That's what I'm saying. So, I know that. And so I'm like, even though I don't have all this emotional stake with that, I still know like, okay, we're dealing with a real bad guy here. And
I got the bones.
He may actually do some damage. And do damage he did.
Oh.
And do damage he did.
Oh, my God. Did he ever?
Yeah. That was a couple episodes that was hard to watch. Partially because, again, I like I told Dylan initially, I don't really know all the characters.
Right.
And there's a couple, like, you don't have to know a show
to get the basic gist of a story.
Right. Or you don't have to know all the ins and outs of all the characters to like know whenever a movie or a show kind of does like a little cameo spot on a special character, or like at least in the anime world and other like cartoons and TV shows and like other, even like some sitcoms kind of do it. Like, you know, whenever like a character comes in that people kind of recognize.
Right.
Because they just like, they give it like that little spotlight of like, hey, and some of the other side.
Like
the other side characters like, oh my gosh.
If you have a name,
yeah,
you were introduced at some point and there's probably like one or two people that like you enough to be a fan.
Right. Or ask you for advice or something like that. So there's a couple of characters like that in this show so far that I get the feeling that they're like kind of important side characters, or
important enough to have these little segments dedicated.
Yeah, or like if nothing else, a little fan service cameo or something like that, or whatever it may be.
Right.
So because I don't know all the characters, I was getting kind of nervous because I'm like, okay, I know shit's about to go sideways. I can just feel it in the air.
Right.
Because obviously, because also we're like watching the show and they're like, we're preparing for war. So like, I have a little bit of insider knowledge.
That little tidbit that we just mentioned about Yuho Baha just killing like two of his subordinates after receiving a report.
Right.
He's like, 5 days? No, that's weak shit. We're doing it now.
And you're like, oh,
fuck it.
Damn.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
And he immediately invades the Soul Society.
Yeah.
With his stern Ritters. They're like his lieutenants.
Right. So what I'm saying is there's a point in time where he gets all these lieutenants together with himself, and they are able to like teleport their way into the Soul Society.
Oh, yeah, right on fucking top of them.
Oh, yeah, blasting it with blue flames and of course absolutely killing shit.
Oh, yeah.
Killing guys left and right. It's
everybody's dying.
It's a bloodbath. And for me, I was getting concerned because I'm like, it's a bit depressing because they're just like they're trying their best. You hear the screams of the innocent going like, oh no, boy! They're just like getting sliced up, and you're like, holy shit!
It's a slaughter.
It's traumatizing in a little bit of ways. So I was getting concerned that I was like, we have some pretty what feel like crucial characters. Those little cameos I was talking about are one thing, but there's other characters that I can tell I recognize as like they have been long-standing characters, if not from the first episode, are over here, and they're starting to look a little scared.
Yeah.
Some of which are getting like kind of sliced and diced up. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need you to slow down.
Right.
Because I feel like I'm wanting to make sure that we're not just glazing over the fact that there's a potential that like very important characters are dying on us. Because I don't want to. I don't want to continue watching this show if I'm like, oh, he's just, Jimbo. And you're like,
Right.
no, Jimbo's actually very important.
Right. Jimbo was very important.
And now Jimbo is now very dead.
Yeah.
and I'm just like, oh, oops.
Yeah,
you know what I
whoopsie.
mean? Yeah. So that's what I want to make sure to mitigate that, and I'm not missing that, or I'm not having the heaviness of it.
Right.
But it's like you said before. I think the show is written and produced well enough, like you understand when those characters are having those moments, and I think there was. I don't remember what that guy's name is, with the rose petal sword.
Byakuya.
Byakuya.
Yeah, that's Rukia's brother.
Right. And I could tell he was a very important character.
Oh, yeah.
For a lot of reasons.
Motherfucker was one of Ichigo's main stepping stones.
Right.
Motherfucker duked it out with him super hard at one point in the series.
Damn. And so, as we have already mentioned, these Quincy's are sucking out all the Bankai power.
Able to just steal them.
Yep.
They find out mid-fight after 3 of them have had their Bankai stolen.
Right.
And man.
Yep. It gets crazy.
Oh, yeah. It's rough. But dude, that fight between Byakuya and that one crazy ass fear fucker.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites.
That is scary looking.
Yeah. Man. Just that entire exchange was so fucking cool.
I thought that thing was a girl.
And
then it starts
Dakota
talking.
thought the same thing at first too. And so did Chase.
And then he starts talking, and he starts talking like this.
A real deep.
Oh, and he's psychotic.
Void. Oh, yeah.
I am talking
really
like
just
this.
laying it
I'm
in.
laying it in. I'm a bad guy. And you're like, oh my God, dude, what is happening?
Yeah. Demented.
Yeah. Got white eyes. Has a face mask with spikes on it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, damn. All right.
Yeah. Real lanky.
Yeah, yeah.
Long fingers, claws even.
Claws
Talons.
even.
Right.
Talons, claws even.
Right.
Yeah, it's some great. This is a show that I have known for a long time is praised for its fights, and it's cool.
Oh, yeah. It's got some pretty good
choreographed stuff, some choreographed scenes like that, and some of these are no small feats of all their prowess and things.
It's apples to oranges with the original series, man.
Yeah,
this shit is beautiful.
It's nice.
It's a hell of a facelift.
It's really
compared to what I'm used to, and that's honestly as surface level as it is. It's part of why I enjoyed it as much as I have.
Well, and then we get to some of my favorite stuff, and I got really sad at the end.
Oh yeah,
I got really sad at it because it felt like all that hype was for nothing almost, and that's what I didn't like.
Yeah,
the head captain,
right?
What was his name?
Genjisai.
He goes.
As soon as he figures out who he's fighting, he goes all out,
and it's so good. His Bankai or his power or whatever it is, controls fire, and man,
an absolute mastery of the flame.
Man, and if there's something I love,
it's a flame.
It's
guy.
A good flame guy. It's a good pyromancer,
a la Percival.
Yeah. My divinity character that we played.
Oh yeah,
Lord Chaos. I think was his name.
Right.
Lord of Flame and Shadow. Yeah, I love a good. I don't know, man. I love a fire wizard.
Oh yeah,
and just something about
I consider this guy one of the epitomes.
Oh yeah,
of fire mastery.
Yeah.
Because holy shit. Now, with Bankai, as we've seen them with most other characters, it's usually one big thing.
Yeah.
That
it's like a
they're
finisher
able to
move.
bust out. Yeah.
Yeah.
This motherfucker has 4 different versions
he has
of this ability he's able to utilize.
It's almost like a form he shifts into.
Right.
He shifts into his fire form, and then he's like, okay, let's swap this over into north mode. Let's swap it into east mode.
It's based on the 4 cardinal directions. And each one is fucking insane.
It's wild.
It's so cool.
Dude, it's so it is the it is so anime because of how just like wild over the top
it
is.
Show it, man.
It is so beautiful,
it's so perfect,
dude. There's a couple of scenes where like the animation for the fire, like it has like a lower frame rate, so it looks like it's kind of like stop motion in a way, like some certain flame effects that are going on. But like, dude, it is wild. Some of the attacks that he's doing. Some of these like big and like. Oh man, I can't even form it into proper words.
The rule of cool has that effect.
Oh, 100%. Rule of cool is a great way to put it.
Oh yeah,
we've talked about Gurren Lagann and how that show only goes up.
Right.
It only gets bigger. It only gets more wild. It never goes down. It never decreases in scale or cool factor. And I feel like the same kind of thing happens for this. We get our guy, and it starts off where his second in command was killed, and his Bankai was stolen by one of the lackeys we talked about.
Right, the Sternritter.
This
dude posturing around, killing people left and right, talking all big and bad.
Yeah, using his Bankai against all these other Soul Society guys.
Right. I love that we get some backstory. By the way.
And this is what I'm talking about. I love this. We get the establishment of the relation between the second in command guy and the head captain, and how he went from having nothing to trying to have having a Bankai, and he was like, he's like, that this Bankai was nothing, it was weak, and he's like, and I'm going to devote my entire life to training with this so that we
for the next 2,000 years.
Yep.
The motherfucker has been honing that shit.
Yep.
Never had to use it in a fight, apparently. And then he gets killed.
Yep. And the crazy thing that happens is that this guy opens up this Bankai and uses it on the head captain.
Right.
And he's eating that
taking
shit.
it.
He's eating it hard. And he's like, I know.
During his
oh my God.
During that entire sequence while he's being shocked.
Yeah.
He's recalling
this whole memory, flashback style.
And then whenever he's finished, he's like, my old friend, I know your grief well, because I know for a damn fact that your shit wasn't this fucking weak.
Yeah.
And then he obliterates this dude.
Dude, he swings his sword and a swath of flame goes across this big man, bigger than the head captain.
A giant, for all intents and purposes.
And the flame is so hot that we get a brief scene of it melting the skin away from his face. And then I told Dylan, I was like, you know what? Bones don't burn. And yet we watched the bones in his skull disintegrate.
Vaporize.
And I was like, what?
Holy shit.
Like, oh my God. I was like, holy shit, that's wild. And the thing is, we've already seen the head captain like snap back in a moment.
All right.
To like
he's taken a swing, and there's been a veritable wall of flame
burn through his whole office space or whatever.
But now we see it actually hit something.
Oh man! And you're like, dude, hell yeah, dude.
This motherfucker cannot be stopped.
Nah, dude.
And after he kills this one bastard, he immediately makes his way to the to where Kenpachi is.
Yeah,
because, dude.
Oh man!
Whenever I was over at Dakota's watching this for the first time.
Yeah.
And like realizing what was going on, Kenpachi does not have a Bankai.
Really?
He's just got a regular ass Shikai, his sword.
Yeah.
This man has been built up as one of the most powerful captains among the 13 squad, like Guard Corps. He actively limits himself during fights because he wants to enjoy the fight.
Stop it.
He's so fucking strong that if he decides to just like kick it up a notch, he'll fucking kill anyone.
Right.
Like no matter who they are.
Yeah.
But because he's such a fucking like battle freak, he'll be like, no. Let me tone it down a bit. I want to play with you a little more.
Yeah.
So he like during this entire invasion process, he's just been having the fucking time of his life.
Oh, dude,
going from Sternritter to each.
Dude, he walks in
carrying 3 corpses on his shoulders.
Yeah, we have seen countless Soul Society members get absolutely eviscerated
effortlessly,
and I haven't seen a single Quincy fall, and we're standing here with the king and his second in command,
right? His right hand man.
Yeah,
they're just chilling out,
and this guy comes strolling up and throws 3 bodies on the ground.
Are
and
these like, yours?
Yeah.
Like,
wow,
what the fuck?
Like, first of all, who are you?
Yeah, that's my fucking bar. And
It's
so I'm
wild.
like, oh, dude. I looked at Dakota and I was like, he has to be having so much fucking fun right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
I can only imagine the Quincy's reaction whenever he's like, where's this dude's fucking Bankai? When's he going to break it out? I need that shit.
Right.
And he just doesn't and kills them effortlessly. Yep. It's so fucking funny. Because as soon as he like tosses their bodies to the ground, he's like, the funny thing is the way these guys tried to kill, he describes.
He recounts
right. He explains how they fucking tried to fight him. The first dude like turned into a giant ape and like screamed so loud it would kill people.
Yeah, made their head blow up.
And I just cut that bitch in half.
Yeah, just cause.
Right. The second guy, I didn't know. He started about like denouncing everything about me, so I just tore his throat out.
Oh, which was wild. To witness that, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. And then he was like, the third guy was kind of tricky because he transformed into me.
Yeah.
So I actually had a bit of trouble. But turns out all I had to do was become stronger than his impression of me.
Yeah.
And I was like,
first of all, what?
Because he can just do that.
Yeah.
So whenever he just strolls on up to Yuhabaha, he immediately, like his right-hand man is like, I heard you were a monster, but
damn.
Jesus, and now I know why you're classified as a special threat.
Yeah.
And he's like, shut the fuck up, twink.
Yeah.
I'm here for your boss. He literally says, I don't have time to waste with a pale blonde bastard like you.
Yep.
I'm just here to fight the big man.
Yep. Damn.
And dude, I was so excited because I figured Yuhabaha was gonna bust out some bullshit because he's like the big bad. Like, of course, Kenpachi isn't gonna do anything,
right?
But I was hoping we'd get at least like some kind of exchange. Yeah. But the next shot we see him whenever we cut back is him like holding Kenpachi by the throat.
Yeah,
and he's just fucking down for the count.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
okay. Yeah. Okay,
sure, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. No big deal.
But then, like, our head captain guy comes up there.
Oh yeah, lands.
Bruh.
Like a fireball.
I love the fact that like he's flying through the air as a fireball, and he is
absolute piss missile.
He is an absolute piss missile, and he is at the same time bolstering everyone's morale as he flies.
As soon
through
as
the
they
air.
hear him launch,
they're like,
oh,
we got
shit,
this.
I gotta step up my fucking
we got
game.
this shit. Yeah,
right. I don't even need a fucking Bankai, bitch.
I think it was one of the big wolf guys. He was like, "Will you sit here while
the head captain fights alone?"
Yeah. What a shame! And I was like,
and immediately his lieutenants who were on the verge of death just step right up and were like,
you know what? Hell
damn fucking straight, bitch.
Love that.
It's so fucking good.
It's good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So anyways, this is the sequence I'm talking about. Was my favorite. And also simultaneously the saddest part.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm confused about how things portrayed a bit in that sequence.
Right.
We get this fight between Yuhabaha and the captain, head captain. And there's this beautiful back and forth. Where we're
cuts back and forth between past and present.
Oh yeah, we're getting some great exposition on what's happening and who's involved and all this stuff. And we get the different transformations of this form I was talking about. He gets to hop inside his Bankai form. And I don't remember all the directions and what they were, but I know that like one form, he is, I think it was the east, I believe, or was the west, I'm not sure. He his whole body's engulfed in flames,
Right.
and he's
cannot
like,
be touched.
yeah,
15. What was
Yeah.
billion or million
Million,
degrees
I think.
Celsius?
it was something like he had the heat of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So probably, I don't know, it was crazy, but he
Right.
was like, he's hot, and of course, like people around him are like, like, man, it's getting kind of hot around here.
Oh God, whenever he focuses like all of his flames into his sword,
I'm getting there.
Dude.
There's a point in time where he does another. It's either, like I said, it's either east or west next, where like he then like and like they're smack talking, they're back and forth, and then he swaps forms to a different one, and then all the flames that are burning around him, and again, because it's like there's like a war going on, like there's flames everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Not just from the captain.
Everything within like a 30-meter radius around this dude is in flames.
He then, all in an instant, all the flames disappear.
Yeah,
and then,
that was west.
And then it is as if it is daytime.
Oh yeah.
So it's like nighttime.
No clouds in the sky.
Raining, storming. It all of a sudden disappears. All of it gone. And it's bright, sunny. Everyone's like, what the? And it's silent, which is so weird because all the rain stops, all the fire's gone, and it's silent.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden you start to, like, people are kind of like,
It's kind of dry out here.
kind of and then of course one guy's lip cracks, straight splits, and he's like,
Shinsui,
and he's
dude.
like, holy, she's like, he's sucking all the moisture out there, and he has focused.
I know what this means.
He has focused all of his fire, all of the flames of all of his power, focused it into his blade, into the tip of his blade. So like as we're standing there, his blade looks like it is molten rock, and it is like steaming.
Oh yeah.
And then they start going at it for a while. And he does one swing because Yuhabaha has like dodged it all.
Oh yeah. Gets his cape a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a clean cut.
Yep.
But then as soon as it hits the ground,
Yep. Ding.
everything in like a cone
Yep.
is fucking gone.
Blasts a hole in the ground.
Whatever was there is not anymore.
Yep. Gone. And it's like, oh, I see. So anyways, they're doing like a little back and forth between all that stuff.
Right.
And then I think he does south next, which is like where he like
Wreathes himself in the fire.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he summons all the skeletons.
Right after that,
Yeah.
Everyone he's killed.
Yep.
All of their skeletons, the bones just rise.
And they're like,
They'll pursue whatever I have deemed a threat until it dies. It's
so
fucking nuts.
Dude, I mean, we're dealing with like some Naruto level stuff. We're in some like psychological deep trauma situations.
Because they're all of Yuhabaha's like old subordinates.
Which is crazy. Traumatizing.
Yeah. So if you want to get to me, you're going to have to walk over your old friends' corpses.
Yeah. And then I think, was there a last one that he did, or was that the last one?
The last one, I believe.
Oh, shit. I forgot. I know he does some sort of like last finishing move.
Right, it was some kind of like a big-ass slash.
Yeah.
Where he straight up almost vivisects Yuhabaha.
Yeah.
And man...
and this is the part...
the animation for this fight in particular is...
beautiful.
Fantastic.
The CGI on the skeletons was really good.
Yeah.
It was done really well where it felt creepy and like uncanny a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
It was really good.
The sound.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Whenever they first show up and it's dead silent, and all you hear is the rattle of the bones. Yep.
Yep. So, yeah. But this is the part that gets sad for me. Because then Yuhabaha, and I thought it was going to take a different direction. I was getting kind of hyped. Because I thought it was there's always a bigger fish kind of situation. I thought that this was just I thought that Yuhabaha was dead, and that he was just the filler,
right?
The filler king for the actual king,
right?
And that was what. So for a second, I was like, "Yo, our
there
main
ain't
man,
no damn way.
There ain't no damn way. There's a bigger bad
than this guy.
So I was about to get hyped, and then whenever he ends up. It's the Cyclops guy.
Right. Pulls a gotcha.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be one of his goons.
Yeah.
Who was given his appearance and a bit of his power.
Yeah.
In order to just take his place for this fight.
Right. And so the part that kind of concerned me about all this was like, so does that mean that entire sequence he was that guy? Because wasn't our big guy? Didn't he come drop him off, his body off? He tore out the throat of that one guy. He slashed the guy in half.
Right, Kenpachi.
And then, Kenpachi also killed that guy. So I was like, is there a second one of that guy?
There were two of them, yes.
Really? I didn't know that. Okay, we'll see that shows my knowledge of that. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense now. Because for a second there, I was like, so
I thought, we saw that guy earlier.
Yeah, right. I thought he was dead already. So why is he now dead squared? Yeah, right.
got a bit of twins action.
Yeah, right. So, anyways, but yeah, man,
what a fucking psych.
It was so sad. Because then, of course, like Yhwach shows up and is like, I was in the catacombs.
Gotcha.
I was in the catacombs.
Talking to Eisen.
Yeah,
fucking Eisen.
I don't even know who the hell that is.
The big bad from the original series.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The main dude who was the cause of like every fucking problem ever in the original show. They have that fucker sealed away.
Like Lilith and
yeah, like strung up like a fucking progenitor god.
Yeah, right. Crucified on the with the spear of Longinus.
Right.
Yeah,
you just went to have a little chat with him while that fucking nonsense was going on up top.
Oh yeah,
it was like, hey, I just finished talking to one of your main prisoners down there. Anyway, I'm here to kill you. So,
and then like it felt so.
It was awful.
Like I know you can probably chalk this up that he's like an old guy and he couldn't do the power a second time. But it was just like it felt cheap.
Yeah.
He gets killed by the actual Yhwach, and it's like this whole thing, and then of course like to really add insult to injury, like
takes all of your hope away.
Yeah. And it's like kills him and like really, I mean, like cuts him in half and like, and then like literally obliterates his body. And it's like, it felt so disgraceful. And I was like, for me, it cheapened the scene we just watched in a way. And I was like, I kind of got sad because it was so hype and it was so good. And I was like, damn, this is such a great show of power. And then just like to really sacrifice him in that way. I was like, man, I was kind of pissed off. But I think
I do agree. It also drives home how much more of a big bad Yhwach is.
But see, for me,
he's able to just plan for that shit.
Maybe, but like for me, it just, I don't know, it still felt cheap. It still felt like you got lucky. You got lucky that you decided to let somebody else, like, yes, you probably planned for it, but at the same time, like...
That you even had somebody with that ability on your side. Right.
But now that you don't, like...
Can't pull that shit again.
Yeah, right. So it's like... And anyways, so... For this time, I know we're getting a little bit long on this. Oh my goodness, we're getting a little bit long on this episode. But needless to say, Ichigo was kind of locked away in this like little interdimensional prison kind of thing.
Helping a few of his Hueco buddies. He was on his way to the Soul Society to help them out, but got trapped by one of the Quincy's who had this jail ability that kept him occupied and unable to help while all that shit
and
was going on.
We're realizing that like the lieutenants also have like letters associated with them that like is like a special ability they get, which we don't know all the things so far, but we've gotten a couple
so far we're able to gather that for some reason or another Yhwach is able to delegate and or give portions of his own power to these lieutenants he's gathered.
Right.
Now, once Ichigo breaks out,
oh, dude, and I know again. This is why I'm not super upset because I think it did kind of again. I think the whole sequence of events cheapened a little bit of what we just watched, and I don't think it took away from how epic it was and how cool it was. Right. Even though it was sad, and I think it could have been done differently. I understand that they're probably trying to like get rid of the old characters to make space for other characters or whatever, or they're trying to make the impact of this villain more powerful because he killed a very important person. So I understand
the head honcho.
Right. So like I understand what they're doing. Right. I just didn't quite like that aspect of it. But one thing I think it did do is because in this little interdimensional thing, I think Ichigo is able to have some sort of like connection to what's happening at the Soul Society. So he is like,
he can hear and or feel everything that's happening.
He's like watching the stars get snuffed out as the lives of people are dying. So he's like he's giving it his all.
Oh yeah.
So you can imagine
trying his damnedest.
So you can imagine our main man, bad guy, protagonist. Sorry, not bad. I mean bad isn't like good. Isn't like he's our main guy,
the baddest dude,
the baddest good guy. Ichigo, I mean, he is emotionally going through it.
Oh yeah,
because obviously, like he's like experiencing
on the breaking point.
Well, because he's locked up in an interdimensional prison,
can't do a damn thing to help.
Listening and watching his friends die.
Everybody he cares about.
Everybody cares about. So as you can imagine, he is justifiably crashing out.
Don't see that
he's crashing out. He's going hard. Yeah. So he ends up in
this fucking. I love this sequence so much.
I love how funny it is. I love how timely it is, and I love how it adds life back into what could be very depressing and sad. On the other end of this dimensional rift, we have the guys in this team.
Right. One of the lieutenants was able to get that side open.
Right. So he pried his way open. And as he does, like you can tell he's like kind of straining.
Right. He's riddled with arrows.
Yeah. So
as he starts to like collapse.
Yeah.
And as soon as he falls down in front of Ichigo, the one fucking Sternritter who broke into this like little area that they were working in.
And of course riddled them with arrows.
Right. He's like, "Oh, who's this? Allow me to introduce." And before he's able to finish, Ichigo obliterates his ass.
And dude, and it's so great because it cuts to the outside of that sequence, and you just watch
and
like
you just see him go fly.
He's just evaporated, and of course it's like, it's so funny and so good.
Yeah,
and so as you can imagine, Ichigo now is
immediately makes his way, like after making sure everybody he cares about is still alive.
Yeah.
He saves or gets everyone to a safe location that he can, and then he immediately makes his way to the big boss.
Oh, yeah. It's good whenever, like, your main character, like, that is probably overpowered. Not only, like, does he just, like, one hit kills this Sternritter guy, this little lieutenant guy that everyone else has been having a hard time with, and of course they're all like hoity-toity, or they're all like high and mighty, like, oh, let me introduce myself to he's like getting blasted away. But then of course as he like flies out of the hole, he just disappears.
He just
teleports. I'm like, oh, it's good. Whatever. He's just like, I'm out.
He ain't wasting no time.
No, there's I mean, like, I just it's good.
Oh yeah,
that shit's good. When I'm like, I haven't got time to walk or fly, and I'm just gonna disappear. And it's like
picks up Renji and Rukia, brings it to a safe place.
Yeah,
goes to the crater in a wall that Byakuya has been forced into.
Yep.
Listens to what sounds like his last fucking like dying wish.
Yeah,
and is like doesn't say a damn word. He just goes.
He walks away, and I'm like, damn, how hard.
Oh yeah.
And I love the fact that he's standing there and he's like, he never answered me, but I know that's kind of the guy he is.
That's just the kind of man he is.
Right. And to be honest, I know where he's at. I'm like,
I can rest assured.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, come on. That's good.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. And then they have this whole, and then of course,
he has a little tussle with Yubaha.
Yeah.
Which is very one-sided.
Of course.
He puts up a good fight, but I mean, damn.
Yeah.
He's up against the genuine article right now. He can only do so much.
Right. But you know what? I think Ichigo's him.
Oh, yeah. He's him.
I think he's that guy.
Right. If anyone.
Oh, yeah. I don't think the ops are going to hold him down forever.
Right. Yubaha's like secondhand dude. Like, is immediately like, shall I take care of him, sir? Allow me, please. And Yubaha is like, don't.
Nope. Don't.
Stop right there. I'm going to stop you right there.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Don't take another step. It's like, I'm going to take care of this.
Yeah.
Because he knows.
Right.
He knows he has to be the one to do it.
Damn.
Although anybody else would fucking lose. But man.
Yeah.
Try as he might, Ichigo cannot beat this fucker. He's brought like down to his knees time and time again, like face in the rubble.
Right.
Literally. But as Yuhabaha goes for a killing blow, straight to the neck.
Yep.
We see a Quincy-specific ability pop up and negate the blow.
Right.
So immediately I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, what's happening?
What is it?
Yeah.
So Yuhabaha, upon seeing this, is like, hang on now.
Right.
What is this?
Yeah.
And he's like, hang on, let me ask you a couple questions. What do you know about yourself?
Right.
Or your mother?
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck off.
Stop it.
Shut up. Don't
Shut
you
up, Dad.
fucking dare. You want to talk about Darth Vader, bro?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, ain't no goddamn way.
I, Yuhabaha, am your father.
Like, no. Stop. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. I can't.
Right.
I can't do this.
He's like, while he's talking, like, spouting nonsense, Ichigo's like, shut up.
Yep.
What are you talking
Shut.
about?
Yeah. Crazy.
Oh, man.
I've been enjoying this so far.
I'm glad.
We haven't gotten super far. That's about as far as we got. We watched a couple episodes tonight. And we're...
The last part we left off on.
Yeah.
We got an exchange of hats. We got people taking on new roles.
Yep.
Shinsui, the guy with the pink kimono, is now the new head captain.
Yeah.
And he has delegated to what I like to call the soul bureaucracy.
Right.
That he's going to train Kenpachi in Zanjutsu.
Ah.
Now, immediately, these fuckers are like, you cannot fucking do that.
You cannot.
What if he just decides to fly off the handle and revolt? Who's going to fucking stop him? And he's like, well, would you rather everybody die to the Quincy's?
Or
and of course, nobody says a fucking word.
Of
He's
course
like,
not.
Well, there's my answer.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. How about you? Shut.
Right. And then Unohana.
Yep.
The healer lady, sweet as can be, like a sweet old grandma.
Yep.
Comes in with the most devilish look on her face.
Yep.
Like completely uncharacteristic based on what we know about her already. This is my favorite fucking part of the whole goddamn series.
Yep.
Because Unohana and Kenpachi are, as we know them, complete opposites.
Yeah.
Not even remotely similar in any way until now.
Right.
Unohana was a member of the original 13 Court Guard Squad.
Right. Yeah.
A bunch of fucking no-nonsense, straight-up murderers.
Right.
Who loved to fight.
Right.
And kill.
Yeah.
She is the one who's tasked to train Kenpachi.
Yep.
This fucking wild beast.
Yeah.
It's
Animal
so
man.
fucking good, dude.
It is good.
They are given access to the underground prison where they keep fucking Aizen.
Of course.
Like the very bottom of the barrel.
Right.
Because that's the only place they thought he could just fucking cut loose without consequence.
Hey.
It's the exchange that happens after, at least the first half. Unohana is like, bitch, I don't even want to hear any nonsense you're spouting right now. I'm here to whip you into shape.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm about to kill your ass. And Kenpachi's like,
all right.
Bet. Here we go. And dude, this fucking fight, man. It starts off fairly even. You can tell Unohana already has the upper hand. She's getting hits in left and right. At one point, she's got him against the wall, knocked his fucking sword out of his hand.
Right.
And just says, you a weak ass bitch. You ain't nothing like you used to be, and I'm about to kill your ass. and this is the first time I've seen any emotion other than like fucking battle rage or bloodlust out of this man.
Yeah.
Where he's like, are you telling me I'm about to die here without ever having beaten you? And he starts to cry.
Yep.
He starts fucking crying.
All right. Well, because it's probably the first failures of experience in his life, probably.
Not even. You'll see.
Okay.
But man, it's so fucking good. And we see her impale him like through the throat.
Yeah.
He's dead, bleeding out. And then it just fucking blacks out and it cuts to him like clashing swords with her. He's like, what's the matter, bro? You space out there for a minute? He's like, what the fuck? It's like, excuse me?
I just witnessed my own death.
Right. And then at that point, he's just like, fuck it, we ball. I'm here to fight. and the rest will happen in the next episode.
Okay,
And I cannot fucking wait.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good shit.
Yeah. But I mean, that's about all I feel like we could touch on for now.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
That's about as far as we got. And I think that as this show progresses for us, we're gonna tune back in and get some more out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for listening.
Right.
This is a little bit of a longer episode because we did have a very lengthy intro of us talking about a lot of other things. But hey,
that's what we're here for.
Exactly, and we love it. For those of you who haven't subscribed to this podcast, please do subscribe and like the podcast. We would really appreciate that. We have a YouTube channel at Hindsight Studios. You can type in either youtube.com/@Hindsight Studios, or you can just type in that at Hindsight Studios in the little search bar, and you can find us that way. Please subscribe. Let us know what you think. Leave us a comment.
Mm-hmm.
I so far have been I've been reading the comments as I always do, and they always
pearls.
They always make me laugh,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that. But anyways, until next week, thank you so much for listening.
See you.
Bye bye.